Okay, thank you for joining me. This is ArtifactTimber Company. This is an amazing company. Brooks Anderson is the founder and president of ArtifactTimber Company. They're about 4 years old. They are a third generation from Franco Anderson, one of the partners of A.C. Norquist back in the late 1800s furniture company. And the story that perpetuates through the generations that lead up to him in and of itself is fascinating. It's actually quite fascinating to see the passion that this man has in his business and to see how it connects with his past, to really put into perspective the power of story, because you start to see that it's more than just something we hear and pass on. Story is biological, it's genetic, it's embedded in us. To go off on a little tangent for just a moment, when you talk about personal empowerment, one of the greatest things you can do is define your story, because that story is going to help you better relate to who it is you are and what it is that you have to offer. And it puts you in a path. And when we see the path that ArtifactTimber is on, it's revolutionary and it's incredibly exciting. So here's a company that was making custom furniture, and I'm talking some of the most exquisite stuff you've ever seen. And the reason is because they don't stamp it out in a single warehouse. This is a company who has created a conglomeration of absolutely world-class artisans. And they're based out of New York, but their artisans are all over the country, yay, worldwide even. And they have the ability to take old pieces of history, hence artifact, right? And pieces of an old building that's historical, pieces of old carriages, whatever the case may be, things that are historical, and fashion them not just into, another piece of furniture, but a story. Something that represents where that piece of furniture, that piece of raw material came from. And they took these items and they fashioned them in such a way that the furniture was exquisite. And it's not just beautiful, it's well made, incredibly sturdy. The wrought iron, the mahogany, the black cherry, the pieces of wood that they use, and just the whole approach that they go through to ensure the quality is there, and to ensure over anything the expression, the artistic expression of what that piece is trying to say is there and will be there for centuries to come, because that's the kind of furniture they make. So we took that and we simply applied a little more thought to story and how story is structured in all of our lives, and really what's the fact that what is the facet of this functional art, as they put it, that grips people and brings people into that piece of furniture and makes them one with it. And it turns out that you have artisans who are very much artistic in their understanding of the emotional state of a piece of wood or a piece of iron, and some of these very fundamental elements, but they also innately understand the human emotion. They understand what people in general are all about, and very specific. And they have this ability to be this liaison between those two. And so what ArtifactTimber is able to do is, through the power of story and the integration of some of these techniques we've talked about, and models and metaphysical layers that we put, and the way technology has evolved, what we've done is we've pieced all that together and created a business model that allows that to be the bridge between you as the customer who would come into ArtifactTimber and process through this story build process, and then from there it would reach the artisan in a way the artisan can interpret it and understands it. And when the artisan is able to receive that information that way, then they are able to infuse into a piece of art the story that you've given. But see, story isn't just one-dimensional, nor is this approach. So ArtifactTimber has created a program where you can literally take a space and upload it and let them know what that space looks like raw or as it stands, and then tell them what you want to do with that space, whether it's a garage or a living room or a sitting room or an office, whatever the case may be. And now what we're doing is the client comes in and says, this is my story. This is the legend that I want to represent. And what we do with that is we then take and put them through the story. We map out their story, and once their story's mapped out and it comes to the artisan team, we're able to say, okay, not just here's the piece of furniture that you're after, but we take that story and we part it out through a number of different elements, and we can do custom hand-drawn wallpaper. By the way, everything that they do is top-notch, excellent quality, excellent materials, all of that kind of stuff. They have this magnificent legend table. It's a table that you tell an aspect of your story and you pick out a map, or you pick out a geographical representation, a footprint of a campus, something that means something to you that's part of your story, and they can, with a CNC machine, literally carve it into the wood on the top of your table. One of the most fascinating things you've ever seen, and it becomes a centerpiece for a small room, large room, whatever the case may be, but it becomes the centerpiece for a story. And around that, they can build the rest of the room. So they have these legend tables with this beautiful map that dictates, where something significant happened in that person's life, as was extruded through the story build process. And then on the walls, they have wallpaper that was hand-drawn specific to that story. But then they have furniture that has the same elements infused into it as well. We have some of the most beautiful glass-blown lighting artisans and wood carving artisans building lighting that meshes in with all this. We have sculptors and artists that also create accents that add to this story. And if you understand how a story is made up, you got your theme, you got your plot, you got your setting, you got your characters, right? You have all these elements. All of those elements can be mapped to that room. That table can represent the theme of your story, if you will. The paintings can each represent a different character, and each of those characters has a certain voice. And when you put all of this together, what you end up with is walking into a room, and without a single word being said, that room starts to emote the story or the legend of your life. It's absolutely fascinating. You add to that music, you add to that other expression, and when I say light, it's not just light, but lighting. I mean, it's an entire process that can be brought about little by little to where you can actually change the theme of your home, not just to be anatomically correct, not just to have good color coordination, but to literally be telling the story of your legend through every aspect of it. It's a phenomenal process. It's exciting. I encourage you to go to ArtifactTimber.co or ArtifactTimber.com, either one. I encourage you to look at their Legends table landing page, which is at legends.artifacttimber.co. That one you do have to use .co. And get their catalog, because it changes monthly as these pieces are coming out. As new stories are coming in and we're able to fabricate these pieces, you may just be interested in buying a certain piece. Oftentimes, you ever heard the concept that you don't find books to read, books find you? Same thing with furniture. And you find a piece of furniture that calls your name, let me tell you, that's an exciting opportunity. That's a place where you discover that you have connected, not only with that artisan, but with whatever that artisan was connected to when he found the message and the voice to infuse into that piece of art. And that's why they call it functional art. And that's how we use story in Artifact Timber in order to take it from the manufacturer was doing exquisite pieces to bring it into a place where it now represents an entire legend and an entire storyline for those whom it serves.